Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Throughout history, the figure of Nimrod has often been associated with a tyrant, a man who acted in disobedience to God. This interpretation has gained prominence in recent times, but after all, who was Nimrod? Who was this man, a descendant of Noah, who, according to some sources, was responsible for leading the construction of the Tower of Babel? I take this opportunity to invite you to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share your opinions in the comments, and check out this special content. Nimrod the rebel, the builder of the Tower of Babel, the terrible grandson of Noah. Nimrod, whose name in Hebrew is Nimrod and in Arabic is Numrud, is a prominent figure in biblical tradition, mentioned in the books of Genesis and Chronicles. According to the Holy Scriptures, he was the son of Cush, who is recognized as the progenitor of several African nations, including Ethiopia and Sudan. Thus, Nimrod belongs to an ancestral lineage of great importance, being the great-grandson of Noah, the son of Cush, and the grandson of Ham, a genealogy that carries profound meanings in the biblical and historical context. This lineage reinforces the connection between Nimrod and the foundation of various ancient civilizations, especially concerning African peoples. In the biblical narrative, Nimrod is described as a king of the land of Shinar, a region that corresponds to ancient Mesopotamia, recognized as the cradle of civilization. He is often associated with the Sumerians, who are considered the creators of the first known city-states, such as Ur, Uruk, and Eridu. The Bible describes him as a mighty hunter before the Lord, a phrase that has been interpreted in various ways over the centuries. Some scholars understand this description as a reflection of his strength and physical prowess, while others associate it with his role in leadership and political dominance in the land. Moreover, Nimrod is presented as a pioneering figure in terms of power and influence. The scriptures state that he began to be mighty in the earth, indicating that his reign marked the beginning of a new era, where social and political structures began to consolidate. His influence transcends the aspect of a mere tribal leader, positioning him as a symbol of authority and innovation in ancient times. His story is also often associated with symbolic and mythological interpretations. In some extra-canonical traditions and later historical accounts, Nimrod is credited as the founder of Babylon and other important cities in Mesopotamia. He is also involved in legends that link his name to the Tower of Babel, a narrative that symbolizes humanity's desire to reach the divine, culminating in the dispersion of the peoples and the multiplication of languages. According to later extra-biblical traditions, Nimrod is often associated with the construction of the legendary Tower of Babel. This monumental project, as described in ancient accounts, represented humanity's ambition to reach the heavens, symbolizing a collective effort to transcend the limits imposed by the divine. However, this boldness resulted in the event known as the confusion of tongues. According to the narrative, God, in response to the builder's presumption, scattered the people across the earth, dividing the languages and originating the linguistic diversity we know today. This event transformed Nimrod into a controversial figure, remembered as a rebellious leader who challenged divine power. Although admired for his strength and leadership ability, Nimrod is also criticized for his insubordination and for personifying human pride taken to the extreme. The construction of the Tower of Babel solidified his reputation as a king whose leadership not only defied earthly limits, but also challenged divine order. This dualistic image makes him a central figure in narratives that explore the balance between human power and submission to the divine will. Additionally, some theological and historical interpretations suggest that Nimrod plays a deeper symbolic role, representing human aspirations for power, glory, and immortality. He became an archetype of the ambitious leader whose quest for greatness transcends mortal limits, but at the same time serves as a warning of the dangers of excessive pride. His name, therefore, not only echoes in the biblical texts, but also resonates in legends, myths, and cultural traditions that have crossed centuries. Curiously, some extra-canonical traditions link him to stories that explore the relationship between humanity and divinity, further reinforcing his position as a figure of great historical and symbolic complexity. His association with the founding of cities such as Babylon and other Mesopotamian locations further strengthens his role as one of the pioneers in the formation of civilizations. The sacred scriptures state that the beginning of Nimrod's kingdom included the cities of Babel, Uruk, Akkad, and the city of Akkadi. Although Nimrod was not the founder of all these cities, they are described as parts of his domain. Additionally, his kingdom extended to Calneh, located in the land of Shinar, among other important cities. According to Genesis 10:10, these references are often interpreted as indicative that Nimrod either founded or ruled over several of these cities, though the original Hebrew text contains ambiguities that make this question less clear. There are also debates about the construction of other cities in the region, such as Nineveh, Rezin, Rehoboth-ir, and Calah. The biblical text does not specify whether these cities were founded by Nimrod or by Ashur, leading to different interpretations over time. Ashur, according to tradition, is associated with the origin of the Assyrian people, while Nimrod, on the other hand, did not belong to the Semitic lineage of Shem. He was a descendant of Ham, being one of the sons of Cush. The other sons of Cush are often associated with the origin of various African peoples and those from other regions, such as the peoples of southern India. Nimrod, however, is described as one of the forgotten sons of Cush, whose historical and symbolic relevance manifested in the role he played as ruler of a vast territory, including parts of Mesopotamia. Nimrod's lineage, unlike other biblical descriptions, highlights the diversity of peoples originating from Ham, particularly Africans and other cultures who had a significant impact on the formation of early civilizations. The mention of Nimrod as a mighty hunter before the Lord reflects his reputation as a leader and influential figure, though surrounded by controversial and complex interpretations. Nimrod is described as the first king mentioned in the scriptures after the flood, being cited in the biblical text as a figure of great influence. In Jewish and Christian traditions and legends, Nimrod is often considered the leader of those who built the Tower of Babel, located in the land of Shinar, also identified as Babylon. Although the Bible does not explicitly state this association, Nimrod's kingdom included the cities of Babel, Uruk, Akkad, and Calneh, as described in Genesis 10:10. The ancient historian Flavius Josephus believed that Nimrod played a central role in the construction of the Tower of Babel. According to him, Nimrod encouraged the people to build it as a symbol of defiance to God, thus consolidating his reputation as a powerful and rebellious ruler. This interpretation is reinforced by other ancient Jewish sources, including the Talmud, which also attribute the leadership of this venture to Nimrod. Additional interpretations by Jewish scholars, such as Philo of Alexandria and Yohanan ben Zakkai, both from the 1st century CE, deepen this view. They analyze the biblical Hebrew expression Gibor Sayid Lipne Yahweh, which means a mighty hunter before the Lord. These interpreters suggested that the phrase could be understood as in opposition to God, indicating that Nimrod presented himself as a challenger to divine authority. This interpretation is echoed in works like those of Pseudo-Philo and later in Symmachus, reflecting a consistent tradition of critical readings of Nimrod's role in biblical history. Moreover, the symbolism of Nimrod transcends the biblical narrative, representing the archetype of an ambitious and defiant ruler, capable of uniting peoples to achieve great feats, even if in contradiction with divine purposes. His figure continues to be a point of theological and cultural discussion, highlighting the complexities of his legacy. Some rabbinic commentators have associated the name Nimrod with the Hebrew word meaning rebel, a meaning that reflects his figure in biblical traditions and later interpretations. In Hebrew and Phoenician, the name Nimrod is directly related to the idea of rebellion, symbolizing his opposition to the divine will. In other languages, the name may carry different connotations, but the aspect of rebellion prevails in the biblical context. Nimrod is often seen as one of the greatest leaders among the descendants of Ham, standing out for his ability to conquer and influence. He achieved the feat of bringing together the Semites, the Japhethites, and the Hamites themselves in the city of Babel, located in the land of Shinar, a region corresponding to Babylon. This unification of all Noah's descendants in one place was a remarkable achievement, but one that directly challenged God's plan, which was for the peoples to spread out and fill the earth, multiplying and occupying the entire world. The account emphasizes that Nimrod's centralization in Babel displeased God, as it represented an attempt to control and concentrate power in opposition to divine purpose. This disobedience culminated in the construction of the Tower of Babel, an ambitious project led by Nimrod, according to later traditions. The tower's goal, which aimed to reach the heavens, symbolized human rebellion and the desire for divine independence. According to Pseudo-Philo, a work dating to around 70 AD, Nimrod is described as the greatest leader of the Hamites. In this context, Joktan is mentioned as the leader of the Semites and Fenech as the leader of the Japhetites. Despite their distinct origins, these leaders were associated with the construction of the Tower of Babel, consolidating the temporary union of Noah's descendants under a common purpose, even though it was contrary to God's will. This narrative reinforces Nimrod's figure as a symbol of ambitious leadership and defiance against divine orders. In the ancient Book of Jubilees, dated to the 7th century BC in its oldest version, Nimrod is briefly mentioned, identified as the father of Azurad. According to the text, Azurad was the wife of Eber and the mother of Peleg, as described in chapter 8, verse 7. This connection places Nimrod as an ancestor of Abraham and consequently of all Hebrews and Arabs. This genealogy reinforces his historical and symbolic relevance within Jewish and Arab traditions. Furthermore, Nimrod is also seen as an ancestor of the ancient Sumerians, who called themselves Eli Cushites, a term that can be translated as the people of the black face. This self-designation reflects a possible connection with the lineage of Ham and Cush, consolidating the narrative of Nimrod as an important Hamitic leader and a prominent figure in various ancient cultures. An ancient Arabic account, known as Kitab al-Magal, or Book of the Rolls, part of Clementine literature, attributes to Nimrod the construction of several cities, including Hadanian, Elasar, Seleucia, Ctesiphon, Ruhin, Atropatene, and Tel Alan. According to this text, Nimrod began his reign when Roy was 163 years old and ruled for 69 years. During this time, he also founded cities such as Nisibis, Raha, Edessa, and Haran, the latter of which were built when Peleg was 50 years old. Another curious and symbolic detail mentioned in Kitab al-Magal is a dream of Nimrod, in which he saw a piece of black cloth and a crown in the sky. Inspired by this vision, he ordered Sasan, the weaver, to make a crown similar to the one he had seen. This episode reflects not only Nimrod's ambition and power, but also his attempt to legitimize his authority as divine or celestial, reinforcing his image as a leader of great influence and symbolism. Nimrod was, in fact, one of the tyrants descended from Noah, being one of his great-grandsons who stood out for his rebellion. Like many Semites and Japhetites, Nimrod disobeyed God's command, which instructed each people to spread out and inhabit their own lands, repopulating the world after the flood. By staying in the land of Shinar and concentrating in Babel, they all ended up sinning against God, challenging his plan for the dispersion and multiplication of peoples. If you've made it this far, I thank you for following the content of this video. I invite you to subscribe to the channel so that we can continue bringing materials like this. If you enjoy our work, share the channel with others, especially in WhatsApp groups or on social media, where there is interest in topics related to the Holy Scriptures, ancient cultures, archaic languages, and the history of the peoples mentioned in the Bible. Our goal is to provide a broader and deeper knowledge of these subjects, allowing more and more people to explore these fascinating traditions. May God bless you and your journey of learning, and I'll see you soon.